Welcome back, everyone, to the Arizona Diamondbacks franchise here on MLB The Show 19. And now that the month of May is over, that means only one thing. MLB draft time is upon us. Arizona owns the third overall selection, just behind the Orioles and the Marlins, as I think it's a good idea to look at the roster, see potential positions of need. I think the bullpen could use some work. Maybe catcher, even though Carson Kelly now has a potential. I think the middle of the infield could be worked on as well, and it doesn't hurt to add some more starting pitching. Not to mention Robbie Ray, David Peralta, and Jake Lamb are all free agents at the season's end, so maybe they will be gone and their positions may need to be looked at as well, even though all three of those guys are playing as if they are warranting a new contract. They've all earned new deals, so we'll see if any of them return or maybe traded at the deadline. So all of this is to be determined. I think the Diamondbacks just have to go with best player available pretty much, and that's what I expect them to do. So here are a few players to look at, starting with starting pitchers. Templeton, Emmett Casillas are solid. Aiden Kozar looks like a pretty solid pick as well. And then William Chang, too. All of these guys have 80 potential. Chang and Kozar are projected to make the majors in 2023. I think the other two were a little bit earlier. And then the bullpen, there are some very solid players. A bunch of blue-chip closers. Catcher, Oliver Vaccaro. He looks like an absolute monster, only 19 years old. Phenomenal player, especially defensively. He's tiny, though, only 5'10", 194. But he does look really, really good. In the infield, there's some talent. Antonio Cruz looks pretty good from Canada. That's not a very Canadian name. And there's some depth here for sure, but Cruz definitely looks like the best second baseman in this year's draft class. And then third base, all of these guys are 2024 ETA. And then same for shortstop, either 2024 or just haven't scouted them enough. Jed DeCarmen. He is currently being scouted. And then left field, there's an interesting prospect here in Daniel Sexton. Looks like he can make an impact very early, only 18 years old, but he has a lot of talent. Center field, looking at Luis Manuel. He's only 20 years old, blue chip prospect. And then Kurt Jackson also looks pretty talented as well. He is already 22. And then looking at right field, no one that totally pops out. But Boone Richmond could be a guy to take a risk on. As you can see, he looks like an absolute beast, but he's not really been scouted yet, so he's probably nowhere near that good. But if he is that good, then dang, we might have the next Mike Trout. So, without further ado, it is time to simulate to the Major League Baseball amateur draft. Robbie Ray actually gets injured in the game against the Diamondbacks, in the game against the Cardinals. Sorry, we are the Diamondbacks. Without further ado, let's get underway. William Chang and Oliver Vaccaro are the first two taken, two guys who I thought could be very solid prospects, especially Vaccaro. So those two teams are getting some really, really good players. So, what are the Diamondbacks going to do here at number 3? Well, we're deciding between two guys, Emmett Casillas and Aiden Kozar. Kozar is a year younger, but he's also a little bit more raw. And after thinking about it, the Diamondbacks ended up going with Emmett Casillas. The main reason is he's a lefty, and the only lefty in this rotation right now, plus the bullpen, is Robbie Ray, who is currently injured right now. So there are no other lefties on this team, which is extremely hard to believe, and they're going to have to get a lefty arm at the deadline. Now, onto some compensatory round. They're going to go with Daniel Sexton from Minnesota. Looks like he could be a nice bat off the bench early on. On to the second round, Antonio Cruz from Canada, a player we did talk about. He looks like a beast, especially defensively. Has a nice offensive upside as well. Now, on to the third round. The Diamondbacks will be selecting a starting pitching prospect, Cristobal Tejada from the Dominican Republic. He looks like a very talented prospect. And then after that, at this point, it's pretty much just a crapshoot from here on out. Round 4, Jay Weldon, an outfield prospect, as he is a very good defensive player, has a nice bat as well. Round 5, Henry Rodriguez, 80 overall, 80 potential. That looks pretty darn nice, but he hasn't been scouted yet, so he's basically a shot in the dark. Diamondbacks hoping they get lucky with him. And then same thing in round 6, another relief pitcher in Felipe Cabrera, as he's probably not going to be that good, but who knows? Anything's possible. So the MLB draft is in the books. I think it'd be kind of cool if they did do like the 40 rounds, if ever real baseball does, even though that would be pretty complicated. So let's take a look at this draft. There is a very good chance that Emmett Casillas is the best player in this draft. 71 overall, 19 years old, 98 potential. He looks like an absolute beast. Daniel Sexton, 80-75B. Looks like he can be a great part of his future. Phenomenal contact versus righties already. Round 3, Antonio Cruz. A little bit more raw than the other two, but he definitely looks like a talented player, could be a part of this team's future. Cristobal Tejada, B potential, 20 years old. Only 57 overall, but he does have some upside. Jay Weldon, he looks like he could be a guy who contributes in the minor leagues. There's nothing wrong with that. And then Henry Rodriguez, 68 overall, 18 years old, only C potential, but he has a chance to potentially make a bullpen one day. And then the last selection was Felipe Cabrera, 56 with C, another guy who I think could be a really good minor league player. So, obviously, everyone's going to be signed. Emmett Casillas, welcome to the squad. Daniel Sexton, welcome aboard. Antonio Cruz, welcome to the desert, kiddo. Cristobal Tejada, welcome aboard. Jay Weldon, you suck. You're getting signed. Henry Rodriguez, I hope you enjoy your contract. And then Felipe Cabrera, welcome aboard, kiddo. So let's take a look at the rest of the drafts around the MLB. Charles Mazzaul to the Rockies. Dodgers, no one too great. Leroy Ezel, 94 potential closer to the Padres. He looks pretty darn good. The number 1 overall pick was William Chang, 66 with 94 potential. Probably not as good as Casillas, but he also does look pretty darn good. Johnny Caruso, that looks like a really talented player for Boston. Not a great draft for the Yankees. Andres Anaya does look like a nice late value pick. Tampa Bay, Frank Hernandez, 89 potential, not awful. Michael Templeton to the Blue Jays, he looks like an absolute monster. White Sox with no one too crazy, 52 potential guy down there, eek. Indians, not bad. There's Aiden Kozar to the Detroit Tigers, 63-91 at the age of 18. He looks like a monster. Probably looks like Casillas was the better pick, but the Tigers definitely have someone with extremely high potential in Aiden Kozar. Luis Manuel to the Royals, he looks very talented. Angels, I don't know what that first round was. Greg Ellsworth sort of makes up for it. Tom Christensen to the A's, that man looks absolutely insane. Mariners with no one crazy. The Rangers with a talented closer, and then they also drafted Casey Mize' younger brother, Jeffrey Mize, who looks like a very talented relief pitcher. Astros with a solid first-rounder. Braves not great. There's Oliver Vaccaro, 97 potential to the Marlins. They already have Jorge Alfaro, but he does look very good. Walter Connor, 39 overall, but he does have potential, unlike Buster Diaz, 49 with D. Yuck. Phillies with a pretty bad draft. Wilson Valdez does not look great. Julio Valencia, same thing with the Cubs. Nolan Connors, I guess, could have been worse for Cincinnati. James Ishikawa to the Brewers. That looks like a nice pick to help their bullpen. Kurt Jackson, 99 potential, but he also sucks now. He is very fast, though. He is a blazer. Juan Estrella, 75-91. That looks like a nice pick for the Cardinals to improve their bullpen. Highest rated player in this draft, I think, alongside Daniel Sexton. So, very nice pickup for them. And then back to us. So, I think we might have had the best draft out of anyone. Very happy with this new core of players entering the squad. And then, here's proof. Other than Robbie Ray, there is no lefties in this pitching staff. So, that's why the Casillas pick is so good. And if he was a righty, I think the team would have probably been more tempted with Aiden Kozar, as we got to get some game action in. The game of the day of the draft here at Busch Stadium as the Cardinals taking on the Diamondbacks. Both these teams have pretty much opposite records. Carlos Martinez on the mound for the Cardinals. He's having a nice year, 7-3 with a 2.9 ERA. As the former Cardinal Marcelo Zuna got an ovation of boos headed into this whole series. Of course, he ditched Arizona to sign with the Diamondbacks this offseason. There's my Golden Locks brethren, Harrison Bader, with the play, as Touki Toussaint on the mound for the D-backs, 3-3 with a 3.88 ERA. He's been very solid as he gets Jose Martinez, the leadoff hitter, going down swinging. As these two pitchers start off red hot, Paul Goldschmidt, Goldilocks, the former Diamondback, goes down swinging. So here's Edwin Encarnacion, only one at-bat so far with the team. He's getting his first start as a Diamondback. Pavin Smith getting the day off, and Encarnacion's at-bat would not be pretty. Weak fly out into left field. Here's Wilmer Flores going down on a nice slider from Carlos Martinez. Let's go bottom to Tyler O'Neill getting the corners painted on that one. Wellington Castillo, swinger, nice pitch from Carlos Martinez. And Martinez's perfect games ends with a single from Touki Toussaint of all people. The pitcher is one who ends it. And then Nick Williams, the batter after that, he would go high and deep into center field, Toussaint scores from first, and the Diamondbacks will untie this game off with an RBI double from the leadoff man, Nick Williams, as Arizona will take a 1-0 lead. He is cooking in the kitchen, and then Moustakas gets plunked. Would you look at that? As you'll see why this is important later. Edwin Encarnacion, he's just a window shopper because he's just looking, and then Jake Lamb, more blind than Helen Keller, swinging at an ugly pitch. Moose wouldn't score bottom 4 as the shutout for Toussaint is over. A dinger for the St. Louis Cardinals. That's Colton Wong with his 6th on the campaign, and we are now tied up at 1. Yadier Molina, the catcher. Adios, amigo. And then Edwin Encarnacion with another weak fly. I don't know why Goldschmidt didn't go after it, making Jose Martinez work. And then he's running into the thing. Say, what? That's a little bit strange. And then Colton Wong striking out. Toussaint still pitching very well. And you're probably wondering why Paul Goldschmidt is excited. Well, he just launched a bomb into center field as very nice shot from a former D-back trying to get revenge on his old team. As David Peralta actually made a nice play on it. Could have robbed it if the ball was a little bit closer. Paul DeYoung striking out, as that would pretty much end the campaign. Now 7th inning, Wilmer Flores gets K'd once again. Carlos Martinez is on a tear right now. David Peralta up, and that's going to be a rocket shot. Very nice play by his former teammate, former NL MVP Paul Goldschmidt. Mr. Goldilocks, as we enter the bottom of the 7th, 2-1 score, as Matt Carpenter, better go Carpenter, is bad after that one. And then that's when things started to get ugly. Yadier Molina with a single. Tyler O'Neill advances to third, putting runners on the corners. That would end Touki Toussaint's day. Very solid 6 1/3 innings, only allowing 2 runs up to this point. However, he could allow more depending on the result. As Diego Castillo enters the game, former Tampa Bay Ray, he's been very good on the campaign. His 21st appearance, 1.23 ERA. However, this start would not be too great for him, as Harrison, the Golden Locks Bader, my Golden Locks brother, and going deep. And Harrison Bader will quadruple the Cardinals' lead, making it 5-1 now. Nice shot right there from Bader. He definitely knows a thing or two about his due, as Jose Martinez swinging at a very ugly pitch. Just disgusting. But still, nice shot from Bader. As there's Pavin Smith going down, looking pinch hitting today. 4th pitcher spot. As there's a look at the pitcher comparison. Carlos Martinez dominated. Touki Toussaint played well too, and the home run wasn't necessarily his fault. So now bottom 8, that one is fair for St. Louis. Fair to start beating off with a double. Pedro Strop, another former NL Central guy, is in the game. That's not a double. That's actually an error. Bad throw to first from Pedro Strop, my bad. So now runners on the corners, 1 out, as the Cardinals would extend their lead, making it 6-1, as it's not looking too hot right now for the Diamondbacks. And then Moustakas gets plunked again. The second time he does. This time it happens to be by Jordan Hicks, who might be one of the hardest throwing pitchers in this game. So Cardinals may be playing a little bit dirty. It wouldn't prevent them from getting the win, as Wilmer Flores on a full count pitch swinging at something ugly. And St. Louis gets the win, avoiding the sweep. 6-1 is your final score. I think Arizona has to be pissed off that Moustakas got plunked twice, and pretty ticked off that they only got 3 hits as well.
Life is your creation. day, man.